Well, all of us farmers have officially fucked around and we have officially found the fuck out now, guys. I am on the verge of bankruptcy. I'm on the verge of fucking tears. Overnight, all of my fucking help fled. My help, out of fear for their safety, their lives, they fucking fled.
So something I've been thinking a lot of lately is, how do farmers deal with stress? How do farmers deal with all the problems that they have in their life? And I think about this because this whole month has been a particularly hard, rough month. I had an illness that went through the cows, that I lost a couple cows. One of my show cows died. I've had sick cows. I've had employees leave. I have brand new employees that don't know anything about farming, but I'm trying to teach them.
Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids. And because of this, they're essentially shut down and no work can be done. Just take a listen to one farmer.
3 weeks it started to slow, but this last week or so has been huge. That's when it's like zero people wanting to come out. And
yeah, zero people going to work the farms. And while yes, these farmers are in the find out phase, we're all going to be in it, because they're talking that our food supply is going to be shut down or have major interruptions. And it's not just Texas, it's California and Washington. We are finding out that yes, immigrants do help the American economy. Immigrants are part of the American fabric. We just didn't realize it till it was too.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvest, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul.
Farm in Kansas. we are all certainly lifelong Republicans, and we were so happy to vote for Trump in all three of his elections. However, we were certainly not aware that he was going to put a funding freeze on all USAID. 100% of our wheat produce is bought by USAID and shipped out of the country. So our farm is completely bankrupt. We have no customer. We had this whole deal with the US government, and now that is just gone in a second.
We told you so. I voted to save your farm. I voted for you. You voted against me. I warned you that within the pages of P 2025, it laid out an intricate plan to decimate organizations like USAID. They do not want any of our money going across the country for free anymore. And that is written in those pages. And we told you about it. And you said, no, I'd rather listen to my daddy shit sandwich over here, because he says, one, it's Democrat hoax, so it must be. Two, he doesn't know anything about it, so he mustn't. And we're lying to you, so you are. Period. So instead of saying, we didn't know this was going to happen, we didn't know, there's no way we could have known, what you should have been saying is, I refuse to listen. I didn't want to trust you. I rather trust a billionaire whose ulterior motives are only to benefit himself and to enrich his family. And I'm voting based on racism. Just say those things, because that's what it is. Everything that is happening to you was 100% laid out. They told you it was coming. And we told you it was coming. So I don't care. I hope you all lose your fucking farms. In Arkansas, all the farmers are drafting a letter to beg Daddy Shitstain for federal funds because they're broke. But they should have known, because we told them it was coming. So in order for America to see that we weren't lying, I need you all to lose your farms. Hey, look, you guys told us hard times were coming. We were all going to have to suffer a little. At least that's what Daddy Elon said. So this is you have taken one for the team, taken one for America. Oh, unless, of course, you meant other people had to suffer and not you.
You're not going to believe this. I saw that someone on Twitter were saying, the white farmers on Twitter were saying that when they had all these mass deportations, that they just automatically thought that they were going to send the black people to work their farms. The black farmers who had already lost their farms, and just, other black people, because they needed the help and they wanted the government to send them, I guess, criminals so they can work on their farms, so they can keep their farms. Because, me keeping my farm and not caring about you and giving you low wages, that's just the American dream, right? Stop it. Y'all need to stop this. This is just totally ridiculous. Little Johnny, little Susie, all the ones that you're paying all this money because you've gotten all this government money for free, you need to go get them out of college, which is what they used to do in the olden days. Get them out of college, get them out of their little jobs, and get them working that farm on the weekend. There you go. See, I fixed it for you.
It's Joe from Georgia. So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, It's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to buy.
Farmers all over the country are getting screwed over by the federal government in two ways. One way is that the federal grants that were assigned to them, already approved, are now being canceled. And the reason they're being canceled is based on lies, according to people interviewed from these farms and agencies who help, people of color buy land and start their farms. They were told that there were reports of misuse of funds, taking vacations, buying RVs. Those things never happened according to the people interviewed. But yet these false allegations without any proof was enough to cancel their federal grants. And this goes for farms, organizations that help farms. $300 million in grants gone, wiped out, taken away from the farm community. On top of that, this right here is a screwworm. This was a pandemic in Texas in the 50s in the cattle industry. This is a parasite that enters the cattle, livestock, lays its eggs, and then the maggots or larvae eat their way out of the livestock. It's the stuff of nightmares. But it took a lot of money, a team of very smart scientists to interrupt the breeding cycle of these parasites and to stop it. And there has been a constant flow of funds to this specific topic of keeping screwworms away from this country, away from our livestock, and Doge cut those funds. When that funding was cut, there was no more testing. The farmers were noticing that they were starting to see it again, notifying Republican representatives of this problem. Representative Don McLaughlin had been begging the federal government to care, to pay attention. He said they're moving at a snail's pace, and we need them to move fast, because once this is here, it is so hard to get rid of, and this would decimate the cattle and beef industry too. Imagine how much beef is right now. Imagine if half of livestock in Texas is infected with screwworms, thanks to Elon fucking Musk, who roto-rooted his way through every office, every agency, every budget, wiped out databases, collected your data, and then split town. Why? Don't get me going on why. We know why. 10,000 lasers in space. I'm happy to go vegetarian for some of these MAGA farmers to learn their goddamn lesson.
So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady, and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people, that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working. Got so caught up in what they were hearing at Fox News and other places, thinking black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs, that they just assumed they'd get rid of the immigrants and black people would take the immigrants' jobs. Sir, our ancestors did not march, die, and fight for civil rights so we could go back to the fields? What? But shout out to the Latino immigrant population that have mastered that labor with skill and stamina This country doesn't even appreciate it enough. Oh, and by the way, when they do try to hire Americans, black or white, to do those jobs, most of them don't even last half a day. They just ghost them without even picking up their paychecks. True story. So y'all, tell me, do you really believe that they thought black people were planning to replace immigrants in that labor force if they got deported? Because I need to know who was smoking that logic. What do you think?
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways? And I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies.
So something I've been thinking a lot of lately is, how do farmers deal with stress? How do farmers deal with all the problems that they have in their life? And I think about this because this whole month has been a particularly hard, rough month. I had a illness that went through the cows, that I lost a couple cows. One of my show cows died. I've had sick cows. I've had employees leave. I have brand new employees that don't know anything about farming, but I'm trying to teach them. I'm responsible for herd health on 300 and some head of milk cows, plus not to mention the other 400 head of cattle that we have. And I think about it and I'm like, the farmer rate of suicide is 3.5 times that of the average population. And maybe what are some of the reasons? I can't have a day off. If a family member dies or one of my favorite animals dies, I don't get to take a mental health day because I have to take care of my animals, because nobody will if I don't. And I know people say, oh, well, you chose farming. I do choose farming because I love it. But I also see why people find that the only way out is maybe suicide. Don't worry about me, I'm not thinking about suicide, but I'm just thinking about how hard it is. And today, and this week, and this last month, hell, this last year, it's been really, really hard. And I don't ever want to give up my farm. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I love my job and I love my cows. But somewhere along the way, it would be really nice if people would stop just saying farmers are so great and we need to support our farmers, and actually get rid of some rules and regulations and help the farmer to actually be able to make a living without having to have your significant other work off the farm just to provide extra income and health insurance. I had 1 day or 4 days off all of last year. That's it. 4 vacation days. And I was constantly in touch with my daughter who was running the farm while I was gone. I don't mean to rant, but it's just been rough. Thanks for listening. I hope things get better. Maybe someday they will. Have a great day, everybody.
But I don't think I ever thought I was going to get rich doing this. I thought I could make a living and pay my bills and leave something for my children, grandchildren. I pretty much done that. I owe a little bit of money, but the places I owe money on, the place is worth a hell of a lot more than what that little bit I owe on it. Anyway, so I guess probably most people looked at it and said I hadn't been a success, but I guess kind of what I wanted to do, I have done. I've paid my bills and added some land to what I had, and don't own too much on it, and gonna leave it all, give it all to my children and grandchildren. They can do that real shortly. I've enjoyed it, except the bad times. Can't ever say you really enjoyed a harvest crop when you worked all year long and you come back and owe a bunch of money at the end of it, all your time, your labor. Can't say I enjoyed those times, but overall I enjoyed all of it. I couldn't have done anything else and been happy because good Lord wired me up to be a farmer. You know, I put forth a lot of effort, I do know that. Did I always try my best? Probably not. I thought I tried my best, but don't know what I did or not, but I gave it a good shot at it. If I had to do over, I'd have probably put irrigation in earlier. Maybe not farm quite so many acres, but try to do a better job with fewer acres, especially with irrigation. I want to put every square inch I could get in irrigation, and maybe got some long-term rent. You can put some irrigation on some of that stuff. Like if you get a 10-year lease or 15-year lease on some of it. But I still had a lot of acres down there I could put irrigation on, but I didn't do it. Anyway, I'm out of here. Go back and listen to Big Mama scream at the cat. I called a lady about putting a collar on the cat. The electronic deal, you know, where Big Mama keep it from getting all over the top of it. The cat can jump on top of anything. Big Mama said, no, can't have a collar on the cat. So I don't know what I'm going to... I guess she's just going to keep on screaming at him.
So Texas farms don't have no workers? I like salad, y'all. I mean, what we gonna do? I'm not going out there. Y'all should have left them folks alone. Now look at us. We already overweight, out of shape, high blood pressure. Now we ain't got no vegetables. I am just waiting on MAGA to report to the fields. It's your turn.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm economy as a whole is struggling. Inflation has caused our cost of production to rise drastically on every front. Commodity prices, in particular soybeans, are down about 50% from where they were 3 years ago. And our numbers are deeply in the red. And we send this letter to President Trump because we've been talking for months about needing to have sales in place, a deal in place, a phase 2 type agreement that has purchase commitments along with a level playing field on trade with no tariffs. And we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately. And our appeal to President Trump and his administration is make soybeans a priority in any trade negotiations that are taking place. Soybeans are the #1 agriculture export to China. And in the last trade war, it was 71% of the losses that we had as American farmers. And they're critical.
Yeah, so if we look at, and we're going to divide. So I'll stay with grain and oilseeds because that's what I do day to day. But I just have to say one thing about livestock. For livestock folks, we're in good world for them right now. So I'd love to be able to have as good a world that they're having in GNO, but we just don't. And so there's just so many things, and it's really a supply story this year. When you think about across the globe, we haven't had a year where every country's almost saying all 8 cylinders where we're getting full production. And that's where we are right now. It's also too a bit of a dichotomy in the US is that we're building corn stocks, but the world is not. It's just the opposite in soybeans, where the world's building soy stocks and we're not. And so it's a very weird world, but the fact is we just have so much supply in the world. That's just going to keep prices,
Mexico and China are the 2 biggest rice buyers for the United. They buy more rice off of us than anyone. And when they stop buying rice, we have nowhere to go with the rice. It won't be a trickle-down effect. It will be like flushing a toilet if the ag industry collapses. Totally 100% dependent on the Lord Jesus Christ. I surrender it to Him.
No, you simple fuck. If you were leaving it in the Lord's hands, you wouldn't be asking for a handout. You literally voted to not feed the hungry. Jesus doesn't fuck with you. But before we go any further, I must address the MAGA idiot in the room. Katrina, yes, I do believe that food grows on trees. Say the illustrious apple, for one. I am very concerned. Katrina, the brilliant horticulturist, made this comment because I said, does money grow on trees? In response to the Nebraska farmers who are begging for a check. The American taxpayers bailed them out the last time that freak was in office, and we don't want to do it again. They should have planned better. They should find those bootstraps and pull them real hard. And how are the Americans going to eat? These are cash crops we're talking about. Corn, soybeans, will be fine. This is food that is exported out of the United States. They said they wanted U.S. aid gone, right? Where the fuck do their excess crops go? To feed the hungry via U.S. aid. They made themselves redundant. They are so stupid. This is what being a hateful fuck does. They need to learn a lesson. They can't get bailed out every time they fuck up. Baby farming just isn't for you. If you can't survive without government assistance, like the welfare queens that you are, perhaps this is the wrong line of work for you.
So by now we've all heard that Nebraska is going to go bankrupt in about 2 months, 60 days, give or take. And Nebraska was a state that voted overwhelmingly for that guy. And now they're all crying and screaming because their workforce is gone. All the immigrants that were there doing whatever they did for them, gone. All these people jumping on TikTok, all over social media, complaining about how they're about to lose their farms because they don't have anybody to work the farms. My thing is, like, when the man told you he was going to deport the immigrants and y'all still voted for him, Did you think he was joking? Because his hatred for immigrants and people of color and anybody who's not a wealthy white man was the first clue that the rest of us got that he was going to do what the hell he said he was going to do. Let's be real about it. He tried it and got blocked in 2016 because at that time there were people in places in the administration that prevented him from doing that. Well, now he done got rid of all those people who would have stopped him from doing this craziness. So all that's left are the people like them, like y'all, who voted for this, who agree with this shit. I'm having a hard time understanding why we should care. Why those of us who didn't fuck around but are also finding out, why are we supposed to care? Why are we supposed to be like, oh, you are sorry and you regret your vote because you're about to lose your family farm and God knows what else? We all got drama that we got to deal with and live through. There are a lot of people worried every day about losing their jobs. People who have jobs that are 100% federally funded, who are worried every day that they get up if that's going to be the day that they go to work and they tell them, oh, we're done, you don't need to come back. So why should we care about you when we all got to be out here worried about our own self? So all I'm saying is the fuck around and find out is real for all of us. But for those of y'all that voted for this shit, y'all need to eat it. I wanted to say something else, but I don't know if children might see this video. But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't think we give a shit. You know, concepts of thoughts, because y'all damn sure don't deserve our prayers. Good night.